Show. It's your bud, ABT Pro, y'all. And I want to talk about some things. We're going to talk about a few good things. I got to straighten out this table. Well, 2011 is going out with a bang. And I want to show you what. I want to show you my red hat. New York is in the house. That's not my real red hat. See, I fooled y'all. I want to show you my real red hat. Hold on. Let me push this up a little bit. I'll show you my real red hat so y'all can see this. Yeah, this is just sketches I did. Practice sketches. I did them a long time ago. I want one real. Oh yeah, I do. Here it is. Here's my red hat. I want to talk about some things. This is my real red hat. Yes, some of y'all immediately know what that is. It's my red hat. Now, I shouldn't talk crap about this, right? I think this is a... So this is my red hat. It seems like it's bigger. I have two. I'm gonna send this to a friend. So, if you know what it is, I'll tell you, and then you'll know. It's red cinema, red digital cinema camera. And so I'm switching y'all from Apple straight. This is from the mothership when I went to California. So I'm switching from Apple to red. And I think a compromise would be red apple. Arf. Arf. Anyway. So the point is that I'm going red. I paid for my red camera today. And so it's a very, very, very red scarlet. So it's Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson used reds. So he has a whole bunch of them. I'm only getting one. And his start at 50 grand. Mine is like 15. So that's the story. I'm going red, and I'm basically, so y'all know I got a ton of Apple equipment in here, and so I'm basically, it's not that I'm not an Apple person or anything like that. It's just that I think we come to an end of an era with for me, but not Apple, and I'm moving on to a different transition in technology. So Apple has had a bunch of breakthroughs. I got iPads, Apples, I got all kind of Apples. And so that's all good. But we're entering a new transition, and it's not about Apple for me. So what it's about is red technology and red camera. So what the thing is about this camera is that it is a 4K camera. It will shoot actual cinema quality. Now, I got into a little situation. I did my first feature film work not too long ago, and it was for Sunday Morning Rapture. And it was my first feature film. I did the opening animations. I also did a small section green screen, and there were some problems with it because basically it's a bit of fuzzy math when it comes to digital formats, and if anybody that knows what I'm talking about. If you say 1080p, it's not, you know, there's 1080p, and then there's 1080i, and then there's 720, 720p, and there's all these kind of standards. And so film comes in a number of different standards, and so there's 4K. And then there's 2K, and there's 2K, 4K film, and there's 2K film. So if you load into After Effects and you say 4K film or 2K film, It's actually 4K Academy, which is a different format. It's actually a 4:3, and so what it really means is a really 35 millimeter film back or film format, which is a 4:3, and digital and red cameras are they're not film. They're HD formats, and they're HD because it's 16:9, or that type of 16:9 HD, or what they call an HD. So if you go on a red camera and you see 2K, they liken 2K like I do, because I'm from a digital background. I call 2K anything that is approximately 2,000 pixels. So 1920 or 1080p is really, and what Ted from Red would call, and you should look up Ted from Red, and you'll see, or even some of these other folks that are very high end, they'll call 2K, or essentially 1920 by 1080p 2K. But it's not 2K film, it's 2K HD, or what is known as full HD. But it's almost, because it's 19,020 pixels as opposed to 2,048 pixels. And so it's almost 2K, and so they rough it out, round it out. Now, a lot of things are roughed out and rounded out, and so unless you're very, very, very specific about exactly the aspect ratio or the pixel resolution, the length and the width, the width and the vertical, you can get confused. So you have to be. So I had one of those kind of issues. So somebody said 2K film, and there was no 2K film, and then they said we're giving you 4K, and it's really not 4K. It's like 3K. It's a 3K in red standard. 3K is actually I forgot what it is now. It's 3,000 something, but it's actually double 1080p. So if you say, somebody says, I'm giving you 4K and make it 2K, and so you would normally assume to make it half, and it'll be 2K. But if they never give you 4K to start with, then it'll be whatever it is, half of what they said they gave you, So there's a kind of logical thinking and logical deduction on how I deal with that kind of stuff. But to clear all that up, I went ahead and bought a red camera. Now it's so funny. So they selling a brain for, like, and this is equipment. It's a tool for me to do my work, and so that I will advance and be able to do bigger budget work. But there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts to it, and so and that's not even talking about shooting. And so how this came about, it was so fortunate that I was working on some red footage, and so I had a certain familiarity with it. But as I was trying to get a building to shoot and to do graphics and to move all my stuff into a building, and then a motion capture system and all that stuff, and and cranes and stuff like that. So to use that and do green screen and stuff like that, to use that kind of stuff, I was going to get some footage, some space. Now, I thought that being in Buffalo would be the easiest thing in the world to get some space. It'd be cheaper. That's one of the reasons I came back. As I said, it's cheaper here. I'll be able to live easier and study. So the pressures would be easier. But the pressures of living in Buffalo, it's a whole different set of pressure. So, because you have people that are very close knit, and they have a very difficult time staying out of your business. It's very difficult for them, and then when they get in your business, they just start to mess things up. That's all I can say. But so it's very difficult to just get along here without, every day people will come with some stuff. So it's a whole different kind of emotional pressure and stress. So, and then when you're dealing with, like me, dealing with the physical aspect of the work that I'm doing, it's a lot of mental pressure and physical pressure because you're working extremely long hours, and you're working at the top of your, you know, your wits here. So it can be tough, very tough, and sometimes it bites, you know. But you know, you do the best you can, and so anyhow, so I was going to get. I was thinking that it would be easier to get space here, and so I wanted to rent some space. And you know, I told you about the building. Now, what happened with that building? I won the bid, and believe me, I don't have a lot of money. I don't, but I just try to make things that ends meet and make things happen. All my money, you know, goes back into my investments. Goes as far as investments to grow the business. So I'm not making money, you know, not profiting. I'm making things happen. But so, which is good. I believe me. If you told me I would have been doing this much 10 years ago, I would have been like, very surprised, very happy, you know. And then just the know-how. So I just learned some of the things I wanted to learn. I didn't even know what I had to learn. I learned so much, you know. So that was very good. But I tried to get some space, and I had rented. I had won a bid on a building around the corner this way, and that fell through. They gave it to somebody else for the same amount, and which is okay because I really didn't have all the money for it. So, but they just, you know, they basically said, no, we want the building. They gave it to somebody they knew or something like that for the same price. So I didn't fight it because I didn't have all the money. So, so it panned out, you know. Then I went to rent a space. There's a newer building right around the corner. I went to rent that, and they gave me. I thought that they, you know, it's so funny because it's like in this area, and there's like not a lot happening around this area. Maybe, you know, and it's through the city, so I really kind of feel bad. So they want a lot of legal information, like your incorporations, and I'm not incorporated or anything like that. And so I'm trying to prepare to do that, to make it help or work. But it would seem like getting some space would be the easiest thing to do in Buffalo, when it's not. And so the hardest thing to do, I've been doing. The easiest things I have a hard time with, right? So so anyway, I just beautiful facilities, and I was gonna get that, but it was really expensive for a month, and so that didn't happen. And they said, we want all this documentation once you be incorporated, and so red tape, you know. And so I said, you know, they hadn't gotten back to me. And I was walking home because it's right around the corner. And again, it's a newer facilities, but it's really nice. But it's rentals. And I thought, well, maybe it'll be okay, but the rent was just way too high. And so I was just really you know, I said, I'm not going to say I was discouraged. It's just a little bit. Maybe after the second thing that I went through and the fact that it was so monumental that I won a bid, and then the second thing. So I said, well, they haven't gotten back to me. And I thought I saw a sign on it. I said, if they rented this place to somewhere else, I'm going to get a red camera. Now, red's $50,000. I don't have that money. And so to say that, I was just talking, you know. And so I went by the building, and they had a sign on it, and they pretty much was giving it to somebody else. So I said, after a while, I was pissed, right? And so after a while, I said, okay, let me just, because I said it, let me just go and check what's happening with red. And lo and behold, they have a camera that is their new camera that people have been waiting on for 3 years, I think, for them to develop. That just went on pre-order. And so you place your deposit. And I said, wow, a red camera. And it was less than $20,000, right? Like it's 15. It's actually $10,000 for the brain. And it's $14,000 for the kit to run it. But January 1st, this coming January 1st, is going up $2,000. So if you want to get it, you got to get it now. If you want to get it at that price. So anyhow, I placed the order. I don't even know if I had all the money, but it was $9,000 and approximately 10. It's actually 10,000, so 9,750. So it's about $10,000. But I'm thankful because I haven't had to wait. Like, there's going to be a wait involved, but I haven't had to wait like 3 years or the other people. I started researching it, and there's other people that saw it that have, other people that have displayed it, Red from Ted and stuff like that, and it was a different model than what they have now. And so what the real kicker was, because even if you get the Red, the lenses are so expensive that you can't really, the lens is like $3,000. Every time you sneeze, it's $1,000. With this, that's what was with Apple. That used to be with Apple. But this is like every time you sneeze, it's $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. So it's not really in my jurisdiction. And plus, I'm an animator. I'm trying to build and grow in that direction. But I do feel like because of the technology that it kind of is convergent technology, so it kind of flows into one. And like I say, with After Effects kind of stuff and all that kind of stuff, it all kind of wraps in together, And so, and plus I just did a green screen some stuff for another guy and a film. So I said, well, it was a good decision. And then to work with 4K, and which is full film resolution, And even a lot of the film, it's 2K, and then a lot of that, because they're using Canon, which is 1080p or 1920 by 1080p, essentially 2K. A lot of people are using that and putting that on film because it's only 6% smaller. So that is actually, a lot of people are doing films with that. And you can, and it looks great. And so I have a Canon. And actually I have two 1080p or 1920 by 1080 full HD cameras. So I was going to go with that. And I'm really glad that I did not go into that studio without a film camera. And so there I back ordered. There is a wait. And I am waiting for it, and it'll probably be a month or so. I don't know, but that's not the hard part, And plus, I got so much work to do. It's not even, and I don't have a real space, and there's a lot to it, and it's one camera. Peter Jackson has and you can just Google it and say Peter Jackson in red, and he stands by it. It's a full digital camera. And he has the $50,000 version, and that's without any extra red information. He has two of them stacked together because he's doing the 3D stuff, and so that's like $100,000 a camera, and he has 16 of those. So that's double. So he's about 32 or so of those cameras. So that's what $300 something thousand right there, And so it's a whole different story. It's a whole different ball game. And it's good because I'm beginning to appreciate and understand what those guys are really about. And so to make the transition from an animator, artist, or actually I'm just really an artist and an animator, and that got into animation, video, and stuff like that. I just finished a project for, I think I can say Verizon, in China or something with my friend and my partner in New York, and so I was doing After Effects with that. So and I just had to brush up the After Effects skills. So it's very interesting that became, So I know all of the technology with this, but to get this stuff done and get it done in time. So I'm starting to deal and look at that. So as an independent, so the breakthrough area is that I will have a 4K film, a camera. So that means that whatever I do shoot, is at the same quality to go on, so that's undeniable. There are some features that the camera lack as opposed to epics and stuff like that. So the frame rate and stuff like that. But it takes Canon lenses, and which aren't, they're very good lenses, but they have those really expensive lenses. I'm not going to be dealing with that right away until I get a client for that. And so they have also, so those are very expensive. And they have different features, but the Scarlett is 4K. It'll do 4,000. I think it's 4,096 by, I forgot what the other one, 2,000. It's a 1.9 or 1.85, which they rounded off to 1.9. So everything is rounded off. It's a 1.9 by 1 aspect ratio, or 1.85 by 1. But it is true 4K film, and it does 24 frames per second, which is true film resolution. The other cameras does higher, so it does like 60 or 120 frames per second. The Red Scarlett does 120 frames per second at 1K, so it's probably like 720, which it takes the second letter of the I think it's the vertical. So the second number of the vertical. And so anyway, so it's doable, it's workable. My thing is I want to do short VFX shots. So that's where I want to get into it, and very short shots. So if somebody says, hey, we want to do that, we want to do like a 10-second special effect. So that's the kind of the thing, a very short kind of thing, or a special effect there, or pull a green screen there, and stuff like that. And then still you have to have the actors and the people, and I don't know if that's relevant. So I will be first producing my own stuff, and so time is short, and you can just do the best you can. And so how that's going to go, eventually I will expand, but I do believe for the first couple of years I will be working on this stuff by myself, and then expand from there. So we'll have to see how this whole thing goes, because I'm basically getting into the film arena of it. And it's very good because, I'm making money, I'm paying bills, and I've got the equipment I need. And so to be able to apply it and to take some time to apply that would be very good for me. And I think that should be a very good experience. But it's really serious knuckle down and get into it, And so the mentality I have, and forgive me, that's what I've dedicated my life to, making sure that I can do this, or a portion of my life, making sure that this happens. So anyway, so I don't have a lot of time for a lot of social. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've decided to do. And in order to do it at all, I have to really be focused on it. So that means sacrifice, and I think it'll be worth it. So I wanted to let y'all know what was going on. Now, last thing I want to say about the Red Scarlett and 4K film resolution. It's 4K and all that stuff, but there's actually no way to play it, pretty much. So you can take 4K, you can work with it, and then you have to res it down to like 2K or 1920 by 1080p to pay it on television. So that's kind of what I want to do. The nicer thing about it is that when you do a lot of the pulls and stuff like that, it's just better quality because you're resing it down. But it's still an exuberant amount of footage and data, and it takes so much to drive that. And so they have something called the Red Rocket, which allow you to play at full real-time resolution or 4K resolution. So we're back at that, buying components and stuff like that. And it's a $4,000 card, okay? So that's like 20 grand to really just get started with this. and that'll go in a Mac, and that's the nice thing. It is a Mac solution. Now, to actually view it is a whole different story, and this is why I'm doing this long vlog, is because there's still no way to view it. I have these monitors are true 2K monitors. So I think it's 2,560 by whatever. And then I have a 1920 by 16 or 1200, I think is which I do. I have it, so that's basically 2K. The other one is a little bit higher. So I'll be able to view it in 2K as it stands. But it's a 4K resolution. So you can't play it on this at 4K. So at 4K, I think it would be twice as big as this. So it's like a 56 or 57 inch monitor, but true 4K resolution. It's not the same when you buy the HD. It's like a larger size, and then it's blown up or it's interpolated some kind of way. I'm not sure exactly how it's done. So if you look at the prices, they're only beginning to develop it. And so that's what I mean by the new frontier, is this kind of thing, 4K resolution monitors. And so I forgot who is developing one, but somebody has developed one, and it's such high resolution that they can actually do 3D, and you can do 3D without, 3D holographic images without actually having glasses. And so that system costs about $36,000. So that's completely out of the question for me right now. And as it stands. So unless I get $1 million, and if anybody wants $1 million to invest in some animation and stuff like that, let me know. Contact me. Or even 500,000, we can work. But definitely my standard has gone up for the type of work that I want to do, that with a $10,000 camera or $15,000 or $20,000 camera, and that's not the rest of the system. So the rest of the system is about $10,000. So a nice Mac and stuff like that. And I don't know what's really happening with that unless Apple is coming out with a 4K monitor. I don't think there is one. And so there is one other one, and I think that I forgot who was making it. I think it might be Toshiba. And it doesn't have 3D capabilities, which I think is great. And so that cuts down the price to about $11,000. So that might be within reach, depending on how the wind blows, But so that's my point, is that we're dealing with these real things. And so I think that the development of this kind of system, is 4K. 4K is the new technology of development. And so, and that's pretty heavy because there's some developmental dollars. And, it would be nice if some black people get involved in that and watch and see what's happening with that. And especially some of the manufacturers, black people are getting more in the manufacturer. We have to get some manufacturing. So what is going to happen? What we're going to sit and wait from it to come across seas. So that, again, is our disadvantage. And then all the money for that is going back across seas, unless Apple is developing one. So we need to do something about that. So we have 4K resolution cameras, and we're having, for the first time, 4K resolution cameras that are coming down to independent producers like myself. And so so now we have the camera, have no way to display and view it. So they do have projectors. I'm not really all that interested in projectors, period. I worked for a film studio in New York once, Tony Love, or is it Tony Lover? I forgot. But he was on 26th Street, and I did a project for Microsoft when I was working for Philip Morris. I did a freelance. I used to freelance. And he had a studio. He had a studio that had a projector in there. And it was just really beautiful. And they probably have it now. So they do have reasonably priced 4K projectors that does 4K resolution. And so, and they're about $5,000 or $6,000. They're a little bit above that. So, but I don't like the fact of, you know, it being reflective as opposed to additive or emission or transmission or LED, LCD or whatever. So I would like to see that, and then I don't mind hanging something that is an LCD on the wall, and also is very portable and it's sustainable. But it would be phenomenal to see. But you know, we've just gotten to where we're doing HD television, so I don't know how far that is. So what we really have right now is just film resolution. I'm extremely exhausted. I'm gonna get some rest. I've been working. That project really tied me up, but my work has not been in vain. And so, and I'm growing. I'm glad that I'm growing and developing on the things that are important to me. And that value you can't really measure, in dollars and cents. So, God bless you all. Love you all. Happy New Year. Coming soon. Talk to you soon.